All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome in. Happy game day to all of you. The Chiefs and the Eagles, the big Super Bowl rematch that everyone is looking forward to, is just a few hours away. Hell yeah, let's do it. How are you guys feeling? Probably not as good as some others, but hey, listen, I know it's I know a lot of people feel maybe on the negative side about this one, and I'll be honest, I am as well. I know some people don't like that, but you guys know me. I'm going to be realistic with you guys. I will keep it 100 with you, good or bad. You all know that, especially those of you who've been listening for a long time, and some of you guys have. Here's the thing. Kansas, it's just one game, but it's all we have to go off of for right now. I acknowledge that, in every good unit or good player will have a bad game every now and then. Could last week's game in week 1 happen to be that for the Chiefs defense? I don't know. But right now it's off to a bad start. Hardly ever got a stop against the Chargers, and a lot of the secondary just struggled in coverage. Shamari Connor had a difficult time. Jalen Watson, he had a difficult time keeping up with the Chargers wide receiver in that game. And I think the Chargers even left some points on the board. Herbert overthrew a couple of guys that had beat Watson and were on their way to the end zone, but unable to connect on that pass there. So I'll say this. I think Kansas City's fortunate that that game did not get out of hand earlier than it probably should have. I think it was if the rolls were, hey, listen, I know Mahomes missed, who was it? Thornton a couple of times last week in the first half when he was open down the field. And, that's their first regular season game together. And obviously they've had training camp in the preseason. So hopefully they've been able to get that down and be better about it in this game, because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to need that against the Eagles. I know everyone is talking about the Eagles secondary and how badly they struggled. And yes, the Eagles quarterbacks were bad in that game. In fact, and before I say this, with Pro Football Focus grades, I think they're a nice reference. I don't think, that's the only authority of all things football as far as analysis go. But for what it may be worth to you, Quinyon Mitchell didn't do very well. Out of the 83 cornerbacks in the NFL that were graded last week, Quinyon Mitchell was 52nd. Obviously, below the halfway point of that line. Adoree Jackson was the second worst graded cornerback in week 1. Now, and let me say one other thing quickly. The Cowboys, and I know a lot of people are saying this in Kansas City and also outside of Kansas City, if CeeDee Lamb doesn't commit those drops, the Cowboys probably win that football game. There's a very good chance they win that football game, and I agree with all of that. But with that said, Adoree Jackson, as bad as he was last week, Quinyon Mitchell, as much as he struggled against the Cowboys, they did not have Jalen Carter last week. And anyone who follows football closely knows when you have a good defensive front, or you have that one monster guy that can put pressure on opposing quarterbacks like Jalen Carter, that's going to make a difference, and that can only help a secondary. I'm not saying Adoree Jackson is going to go from being the damn near worst graded quarterback to almost being the best rated, but he's definitely not going to look as bad in this game like he did last week. I still think the Chiefs offense, specifically in the passing department, they'll do some good things in this game. In fact, I think this is going to be one of those games where if Kansas City wants to win, they're going to have to rely on the passing game a lot more, and they might have to score on just about every single drive. The Chiefs scored on every drive in the second half last week, and had they not done that, the Chargers would have won, and it would not have been a one-possession game. So for Kansas City, this is one of those games where I think if you're the defense, you've got to step up. Run defense, I don't think is as bad. They did pretty good against a rookie who was making his debut last week. But they did great against a lot of other running backs last year as well. They did great against Derrick Henry. They did great against Saquon Barkley, who they're going to play tonight. or today rather, this afternoon, whatever you want to call it. But here's the thing. The Chiefs' run defense have not allowed a 100-yard rusher from a running back in 27 consecutive games, including the playoffs. So the way I see it right now with this Chiefs team, I trust the run defense. The pass defense, I've got questions. I thought Ashton Gelati actually looked really good in his rookie debut last week. And if that guy gets more playing time, and the idea, or at least Steve Spagnuolo hinted that he'll get more playing time, he certainly earned it. I think that's going to help Kansas City try to put pressure on Jalen Hurts. And if Gelati can contribute to that, I know Omar Norman-Lott is expected to make his debut today. I think Kansas City's defensive line could really make things interesting and help improve the secondary. If the secondary can just hang on just a second or two longer, I think Kansas City's defensive front can get to Jalen Hurts and create some problems in that pocket there. That's what Kansas City's defense needs if they want to make this close or try to even pull off the upset here, because the Eagles are the favorites coming into this game here. They're the betting favorites. A lot of people, including me, picking the Eagles to win this game. Again, I know people don't like to hear that, but I always keep it real with you guys, good or bad. But my big thing is, if the Chiefs are going to win this game, it's going to be because of that defensive line up front. That's got to be the difference maker. With Jalen Carter coming back, I don't see any realistic possibility that the Chiefs rushing game is going to be good in this one. Isaiah Pacheco, I do have some concerns about him. I didn't think Isaiah Pacheco was bad last week. The Chiefs just didn't use him much. But that Chargers defense did not have Jalen Carter. This Chiefs team is going to be facing a defense that's going to have Jalen Carter coming back, and they've got a couple of reliable guys on that defensive line and Jalix Hunt and also Nolan Smith. But that entire defense revolves around Jalen Carter. After the game last week between the Cowboys and the Eagles, Dak Prescott said it in his press conference. He's like, yeah, when Jalen Carter went out of the game, we started changing our game plan too, and we started attacking that middle of that Eagles defensive line. That's how big of a difference the ejection made for that game, because Carter didn't play a single snap in that game. He got ejected after the opening kickoff. So unless Jalen Carter does something crazy at the start of this game, this Eagles defense, trust me, will look different this week compared to last week. And I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes can't do anything. I certainly think he can, but there's got to be some good blocking up front. Here's the most important thing. If you're the Eagles, how do you win this game on the road at Arrowhead? I mean, if Jalen Carter, for every single snap Jalen Carter is present, if he's not lining up against Kingsley Suamataia, I mean, if you're Kansas City, you have to capitalize on that. Everyone knows that Jalen Carter is going to line up against Kingsley Suamataia. And if the Eagles are not doing that, I have questions. I mean, my hope is that he's lined up against Trey Smith or Creed Humphrey, because at that point, I feel like Kansas City at least will have a little bit of a chance in keeping Jalen Carter away from Patrick Mahomes for an extra second or two. If it's Jalen Carter versus Kingsley Suamataia, good luck on that one. I'm putting my money on Jalen Carter 11 times out of 10. As much as I was hyped for Kingsley Suamataia last year, I was really excited when the Chiefs got him. He just hasn't panned out to be the offensive lineman we want him to be. And again, I know this is just his second game at left guard, but if your second game at left guard is going to be against Jalen Carter, good luck to you, because that's going to be the big difference maker in this football game here. So I'm hoping Kansas City will put a running back. And I know a couple of years ago it was Jerick McKinnon. I'm curious to see if they put a Pacheco or a Mitchell or Brashard Smith beside Mahomes for a lot of pass blocking situations. Because let's be honest, Kingsley Suamataia is going to need that help. I know a lot of people have been talking about Josh Simmons and keeping an eye on him on here all year or all off season leading up to this season. I'm not really concerned about Josh Simmons. I'm not. I think Josh Simmons can hold his own, and he's expected to go up against Jalix Hunt for most of the game. I think Josh Simmons will be fine. Jawan Taylor, of course, is a concern, but my biggest concern is Jalen Carter against Kingsley Suamataia. I mean, I would be shocked if the Eagles don't, for every snap Carter's in the game, if he's not lined up against number 76 on the Chiefs, I have questions, but I'll take it as a Chiefs fan. So that's what I'm expecting in this game here. Okay. As far as some other notes, by the way, there is a little bit of breaking news. It is coming from Ian Rappaport. He is reporting that not Kareem Hunt, I'm sorry. Xavier Worthy is expected to play next Sunday night against the Giants. The specific words he used, he's expected to suit up. So, listen, I think they averted crisis here, because had this been anything very serious, this could have been a significant amount of games lost on Xavier Worthy's end. And fortunately, that is not the case. Thank God, because Kansas City needs their wide receivers right now. I'm a little concerned. I think Patrick Mahomes will be fine with what he has against an Eagles defense. I think that could hurt him. So I'm interested to see how he utilizes Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton as his primary wide receivers. We don't really know what's going on with Jalen Royals. There was a lot of excitement from Chiefs fans when he got drafted. We haven't seen him in a game yet. I don't think he played much in the preseason either. Had a great training camp. But the knee tendonitis seems to be a little more serious than expected. If he's not on IR, it's not as serious as maybe we think it is, because I'm seeing a lot of Chiefs fans panic, and that the fact that he hasn't been available yet. Here's my thing. If he doesn't play the fourth game, I have questions, because if he's going to miss the first 4 games, he should have been on IR. So let's see how that goes. But as far as what the Chiefs have to work with at the wide receiver position, your primary wide receivers are Hollywood's Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton. A lot of you guys have been asking about Nico Remigio. Why is he not getting involved much on offense? Well, with no Worthy, no Rice, no Royals, you have 3 wide receivers out right now. 1 is suspended, 2 on your active roster who are going to be inactive for this game. Well, I guess Nico Remigio's got a chance to get involved in this game. A lot of you guys have been asking to see Nico Remigio on offense to get some involvement. He might get that in this game. Will Carson Steele or Clyde Edwards-Helaire be called up from the practice squad for extra help for standard elevation? Probably not. The only player who the Chiefs elevated on standard elevation was Kevin Knowles. If you guys remember, in the preseason game against the Bears, Kevin Knowles got that blocked PAT. He also had a really good play on special teams as well. So Knowles is someone that's going to be available for the game. Now we'll see who the inactives are going to be in a couple of hours, but I don't expect either of those players, Brandon, to be called up for today's game. John says Pacheco, Remigio, and Thornton need action in this game. Thornton for sure, and he had some involvement in the first half last week. He obviously had that big catch right before halftime that led to the May Day field goal, which is what the Chiefs call it. I actually thought that was a funny name, but makes sense. But we didn't see any of Thornton in the second half, and that confused me. Why didn't we see Mahomes throw the ball to him in that second half? And you mentioned Pacheco. I just have the concern, Pacheco will get the ball in this game. But if you're going to use your running backs and get them involved, it's going to have to be through the passing game. I don't think the Chiefs are going to have more than 15 runs in this game. And listen, I'm one of those people, I think it's a shame that the running back position has, I don't want to say it's been watered down, but it's just not as exciting as it once was. Like when you watch last week's game between Buffalo and Baltimore, just watching Derrick Henry, man, I love good running back play like that. And we don't see that often, not because running backs are bad, but because you just don't see teams utilize that position as much as they used to. But Kansas City, and part of it is being from behind, they ran the ball 17 times. 6 of them were scrambles from Patrick Mahomes, which, by the way, he led the team in rushing yards with 57. The next best was Pacheco at 25. And listen, again, Pacheco didn't have a bad game. He ran 5 times for 25 yards. That's 5 yards a carry. It's not like Pacheco was terrible and the Chiefs were in complete disaster at that position. No, they were just behind and had to kind of abandon the running game. I hope to see that. I just don't know against Jalen Carter if the Chiefs will be able to do that. If they want to have some success, they're going to have to attack the outside. And just looking at this Eagles defense, you're gonna have to probably attack the right side. Jawan Taylor, yeah, I know he doesn't do real well when it comes to his blocking and the penalties, and Alex Smith kind of ripped him for that a little bit this morning. But there is a concern about Jawan Taylor's run blocking. So if he can get a little bit of help from Kelsey or Noah Gray to double team Nolan Smith, because Nolan Smith, not really a great run stopping defender, edge defender, that could help Kansas City. And if you attack that outside there with Adoree Jackson, who kind of struggles with tackling, especially against the run, that's where I think Isaiah Pacheco will get a lot of the success, or Kareem Hunt. Maybe even Brashard Smith if he gets involved in this game. I think Kansas City would have to attack the right side of the field more so than the left side, especially if they can find a way to nullify Jalen Carter in that play. That would certainly be a big difference maker for the Chiefs, and try to utilize the running game and try to have a three-dimensional offense. The Eagles' defensive line isn't as good as it was last season. Tommy, here's why I got to push back a little bit here. I mean, Jalen Carter is still Jalen Carter. And yeah, Josh Sweat, losing him was a massive loss, but they have Josh Uche. You all know who Josh Uche is. The Chiefs traded for him last year, middle of the season, right around the same time Charles Omenihu came back from his injury. But the Chiefs hardly used Uche, which was confusing to a lot of people. Uche in his first game with the Eagles looked pretty damn good. He was one of the best pass rushers in all of football in week 1. So Uche is someone that, yeah, sure, he's not considered one of the starters on the Eagles defensive line, but he will play. And I think if you're the Chiefs, you have to kind of watch out for Josh Uche. Let me see what number Josh Uche wears. Eagle, I think he wears 0. Yeah, it is 0. So keep an eye on number 0 on the Eagles defense. Does the Chiefs win change what happened last February? No, I'm still hoping for a win. Oh, of course. And listen, I had Jody McDonald, who is a phenomenal sports talk radio host, primarily in the Philly area, but he also does a national radio show on Infinity Sports Network, which used to be called CBS Sports Radio. I had him on the podcast this week, and he said, look, the Eagles do not want to let the Chiefs win this game. They know that they want to get revenge. And you're right. It doesn't change what happened last year. No, not at all. But it doesn't change the fact that the Chiefs want to avenge that still in week 2, and more importantly, not go 0-2. And the Eagles, they want to make a statement by beating them again, this time at Arrowhead. They did it at Arrowhead 2 years ago, and they're trying to do it again. These two teams have played each other 5 years in a row. That's never happened between two teams playing on opposite conferences. They played each other. They're playing each other this week or today. Last year in the Super Bowl, the year before on Monday Night Football, the year before on the Super Bowl 57, and the year before in 2021, the Chiefs and Eagles played at Philly. So these two teams, they've gotten quite familiar with each other. They know each other pretty damn well. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this is going to look like. Yeah, if Jawan Taylor's lining up against Uche, boy. I mean, just for the sake of protecting Patrick Mahomes, commit a holding penalty. Like, don't even let him touch Mahomes. But not really the ideal way to prevent an edge rusher from getting to your quarterback. We need Creed to step up in this game and take over. I thought he was actually the best offensive lineman the Chiefs had last week. Trey Smith struggled a bit. Josh Simmons up and down. I mean, it was his debut, so we'll see. All right, I'll read a couple more here. I'm just curious. We not get Pacheco involved. I felt like Hunt got more snaps and not. I think I answered that, Kyle, but thank you for the question. Gotta pace my game day. Starts 22:25 Dutch time. And you international people, man, you guys are awesome. Staying up late, waking up early, whatever it is you got to do. Depending where you live across the globe. Are we moving up any wide receivers for depth? No, that's not expected to happen. First game should not have counted as a suspension for Jalen Carter. Yeah, I agree. And that would have been a big difference maker. But what are you going to do? It is what it is. And you know what? If the Chiefs can win with Jalen Carter there, I guess it makes it that much better. So, well, welcome it. That's the way I see it. I am not. Do you think we see any of Elijah Mitchell in this game? Probably not. Maybe a little bit. I would expect to see more of Brashard Smith than Elijah Mitchell. But just a little bit, not too much. All right, I'm going to get out of here. My name is Farzin Visugan. Thank you all for joining me for the pregame live chat. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday pregame, whatever it is you got to do to prepare for those noon kickoff games. And then, of course, the Chiefs will kick off at 3:25. And then at halftime, roughly around 4:30, somewhere around there, we will do our halftime live stream. So join me for that. It'll be a 10-minute live stream. We'll recap the first half and talk about what the Chiefs need to do in the second half. And then after the game, we will do the Chiefs Dome podcast live. I'll have the video link for you guys to call in, video chat afterwards, call into the game, and we will chat it up afterwards. Once again, I'm Farzin Visugan. Thank you all for joining me for the pregame live chat. I will talk to you all at halftime. Take care.